they come out clean.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Birds in the Buckets. I'm Rashad Milligan, joined by my co-host Malik Brown. Malik, how are you doing this week?
Doing good, bro. Doing good.
What was that? Hey,
I like
you're
that.
not gonna walk past that.
I like that.
Bro, I tried to do the bird stuff. I tried to do the bird noise, bro.
I like that.
You tried to do the Shaquille O'Neal.
I don't know if it was a bourbon, but it sounded more like the Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh shoot! But nah, bro, I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good. Good Sunday evening, man. Well, Sunday night, I guess.
I heard that. And coming back, we have a veteran guest on the program now and everything like that. You guys know him if you know anything. He first came on with the Luka tape. That
blew us up.
I was about to say, it really put the show on. The tape, the clip, and then the headline and the thumbnail.
The haters.
That literally took us, like, it gave us like a platform. I'm not even gonna lie. So
that was terrible.
He took a hit for us. He took a hit for us, but it was for the.
I'm LP, man. LP.
He's LP, man.
Y'all didn't get nothing.
Hey, we still saying LP slander on the TL, man. What's up with that?
It's at this point, it's just mental illness. You know, I'm just. That man chilling, man. That man got with his daughter, won him a gold medal. He good. We good. He good.
Someone tried to flip it too. Someone tried to flip it yesterday. They said, the Hawks fired Lloyd Pierce a few months ago. Now he won a gold medal. And Hawks.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. They went out on him. They lit him up.
Oh,
What's funny is that I see that stuff all the time. I say little slick stuff about LP. I don't ever get it. I think I'm low key enough to where I don't get it because I don't get no smoke. Like Reggie, like even Reg be getting woof.
Reggie get it all the time. I think he was just getting it earlier today. From Miss D. Miss D was blaming on him, man.
I don't see. I was like, how do you keep getting caught? I say stuff all the time. I don't care. I mean.
Reggie,
I don't think he responds. I was
about to say, some of them folks I don't respond to. Some of them I will, but some of them I don't respond to because they just. I'm like, all right, man. Know something. Just know a little bit.
I remember I got blocked from a guy for your Luka take on the first time you came on. He blocked. I never tweeted him, never followed him, never mentioned him, quoted, retweeted.
I'm pretty sure.
Liked his tweet.
He blocked all of us, right?
He blocked all three of us.
There's some dude that I always see. Is Ether? Is that him? That same dude?
No, that wasn't the dude that blocked me. Ether would get on you, but he didn't block me.
It was
I don't
some
think
dude.
so.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get Ether on too. We've been trying to get Ether on.
Ask him why he blocked me if y'all get him on.
Wait, Ether blocked you?
Yeah. I didn't even know who he was. I just see him getting retweeted all the time, and then I always say I can't see it. And I looked, I was like, "Oh, blocked. Oh, okay. Well, probably was some dumb shit anyway." But whatever.
Yeah, Ether, Miss D, they got an alliance.
Ether chill though.
Yeah, I figured they was all in that group. Like I'm surprised. I think Miss D. I think my uncle is like cool with Miss D. So I'm like, we'll get to like a family gathering. I'm like, yo, you gotta stop.
Wow.
You gotta stop, bro.
Like I never think of like Miss D as like like a she's like a Twitter.
I didn't know how big she was. I got in the car one night. I'm driving home, listening to the Hawks game, and Steve is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna shout out Miss D for her birthday." I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I like Miss D. I don't have a problem.
On the airwaves.
He got the 92.9 shout out.
Yeah, like dang, okay, maybe she is a bigger deal than I thought she was. I don't know. She's a good. Just in case she does, I don't have a problem with it. Just in case, I don't want her to get on me. So.
Shout out Miss D.
We good. Yeah, y'all know our shout out. We don't no hate.
No smoke.
No more. All peace. Peace, my brother. It's 2021. We was just watching Dipset in the Locks. It's all peace.
Peace and love.
But man, well, I guess we already introduced him, B. McCoy. That's our guest. He got on the support Black colleges shirt. I think I want to support that. I see it literally everywhere, especially being in the area with an HBCU. So it's like, like the more and more I see it, they were just on 85 South. I kind of just want to get one now. Like I feel like.
I mean, hey, I like them, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna take about 2 months to get it. So I'm gonna keep it a band. So if they if they're
that's
watching,
understandable.
I need them to know. Look, come on now. I'm in Atlanta. Y'all in Atlanta. Come on now. I can come get the shirt.
I can come get it.
I could have came and I went. He's not far. He's like 20 minutes from me. I could have went and got the shirt. It took like 2 months to get it. But
hey,
I digress.
But we still supporting black colleges.
We gonna support.
Right.
I got a hoodie too, so I'm supporting. But gotta speed up that time.
Yeah, they got everything. They got them on 2K.
Where you went to school, B?
I went to Jacksonville State.
Okay,
so
okay.
Not a HBCU.
Yeah. So none of us went to
black college.
Dang.
Yeah,
bad,
I didn't really know about them back then like that. Like I think if they would have been like they were as prevalent as they are now, I probably would have went to one. But back then, we knew about FAMU. That was it.
I was trying to go to Morehouse. I got accepted, got some money, but couldn't scrape up enough money because it's $40,000 a year. So
Oof, man, that's tough. That's crazy.
So I tried. I'm sorry, Morehouse.
Hey, you tried.
They follow me on Twitter and everything. Like, BB, you're an OG.
Yeah,
you might remember them days. I was tweeting about it.
Yeah,
Spike Lee tweeted me, "Welcome my Morehouse brother." That's
for real,
bro. It was crazy. I thought I was locked in on Morehouse.
He should let you in, man.
Hey,
yeah.
The Knicks fan, he would let you in,
man. Spike should let
me in. What was your top three? What was your top three? What, Georgia State, Morehouse, and what else?
I wanted to go to UGA. Was like my dream school, and then but my GPA wasn't quite there out of high school, so I was looking at Indiana because they had a journalism program, and then in Morehouse. Yeah, so it was Indiana and Morehouse. And I never actually applied to Indiana because I was like, I wanted to kind of spend my money on application fees smartly. So I just applied. I was like, I'd rather stay home and I could do a bunch of stuff in Atlanta too. So I applied to Morehouse, got in, and applied for, grants and everything. Got a couple, but not enough. So I went on a college tour April, like the end of April going into May of my senior year. So this is like most application deadlines been passed. Like I applied to Morehouse, got in December. So Valdosta State, they have palm trees. It was $7,000 a year. I'm like, bro, that's $33,000 cheaper, and they got palm trees. So I was like, when y'all application deadline? They said May 1st. Oh, I can apply, right? So I applied. I got in June 1st, and then went to orientation like that same week, and went to Valdosta State.
That's all they got down there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's how they get you. That's how they
the palm trees.
That's all they got. That's all they got.
They got a mall. They got a mall and a Zaxby's and a Waffle House. No, hey, look.
That's it. At least it wasn't gonna go long.
I was about to say, I lived in some places that only had a Walmart, so Valdosta is kind of advanced.
Hey.
I can't talk. Jacksonville only had a Walmart too.
Oh yeah, in Alabama, Jacksonville.
Shout out to Jacksonville.
Come on, man.
Alabama.
Shout out to Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Shout out.
That man was in Oxford, Alabama. Oh man,
terrible few years, but we made it.
It's a cool little school, and then Malik was all GSU from the jump, right?
Yeah, that was literally from like beginning to senior year. I was like, I gotta get here. It was either that. No, I applied for. They only applied for Georgia State, Georgia Southern, and Kennesaw. And
so you were set on in-state.
Yeah, I was in state for sure. Yeah, I didn't look at anything out of state. So
you are truly true to Atlanta.
Right.
All right.
And I guess that's a great segue into what happened today. The Atlanta Hawks open summer league play against the Boston Celtics today in the Las Vegas Summer League. Trae Young was in the house with the pinky ring on. He had his new money on him. DeAndre Hunter was in the house next to him.
That chain on. Y'all peep that chain?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Nice
trade.
Business booming.
Trade again. Man, hey, stop playing with him. But, Dre had the knees out, you know what I'm saying? And he had a little scar on the knees or whatnot, of course, surgery. That's kind of what happens. And Cam was in the middle. And Cam did the pose that he's been doing in every picture since 2015. So that was good to see Cam still striving, surviving. And but I guess the main story from today was for the guys who are going to make the team. Skylar Mays, who's a fringe two-way guy probably. Sharife already signed to be a two-way guy. And then Jalen Johnson, the first-round pick. All three of those guys kind of look like how you expected them to look. Early on, Jalen Johnson, pretty consistent performance throughout. 20 and 10 he finished with. Sharife Cooper, Lil Coop, he got off to a slow start. Got a little of a rhythm at the end of the second quarter. Third quarter played really well. Beginning of the fourth quarter played really well. And then really lost the game for the Hawks there with 2 late turnovers and just kind of ugly basketball at the end. And he finished with 11 points, 6 assists. And then Skylar Mays, he kind of slow start, then asserted himself as I'm the NBA player on this court in the middle, then kind of faded at the end of the game. So that was a recap for the 3 guys who are going to make the team. Fellas, what is your reaction, initial thoughts to the game?
What's up? I'm up.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you good. Go ahead.
It's pretty much what I thought it would be. Like I said, I think we talked about it. Summer league to me is just a fill out process. I don't put too much stock in it. Usually, like your Jalen Johnsons and those guys. What I was wanting to see and what I did see is Sharife's passing ability. He dropped some dimes and they missed a lot of bunnies. It looked reminiscent to Trey's rookie year when everybody was just missing just bunnies. So. Of course, once he gets to NBA plays, I think he's going to be a work in progress. He's still going to have to work on getting his shot off because he has like a little hitch, which is, he'll be able to get it off in due time. I did like seeing him get to the bucket. There's nothing I did not like in this game. Now, I do want to see the next game because I do want to see how, I think at Duke, and then from what I've seen, Jalen Johnson kind of goes up and down. So he comes with 20 and 10, a lot of energy, defensive energy. I want to see if he's going to carry that over to the next game and see how consistent he is, because that's really with him. He has all the tools. It seems like can he put it all together? That's what I'm looking for. It's just his consistency throughout summer league to show that he's that one of those guys.
Yeah, I think this was a good showing for all 3 guys, Sharife, Jalen, and Skylar at some point. I mean, Jalen showed, that he was potentially he could have been a lottery pick. He came out. I know he was grabbing boards early in the game. He was really asserting himself, especially on the defensive side. I know he had that one nice block. Was like came out of nowhere, just out of nowhere, and I was like, dang, bro, like yeah, up there. And then him being able to take advantage of when they were switching out, Carson Edwards was on him like numerous times, and he was able to just bully him down in the paint. And I know he had like a fadeaway jumper, but most of the time he was just in the paint, throwing it up, and they was going in. So Jalen, he showed some true potential. Sharife, I like Sharife's passing ability. Like Brandon said, it was a lot of bunnies for sure. Just Jalen and Sharife were really like passing the rock pretty well in my eyes, but it seemed like their teammates couldn't really get the shots off really well. So that's kind of disappointing. But like Bernie said, Trey rookie year. But it just seems like in those situations, it's kind of like, okay, new team. I guess you don't really kind of really fill it out. So maybe like later in the summer league, those shots will go in, those passes will look more crisp. So we got to see that throughout the summer league. And Skylar looks solid to me. Big body dude, like big point guard. I think he's gonna be real good going forward in the summer league. So I like what I saw from all 3 of them.
And I think what I noticed today just watching summer league action is like, the NBA is difficult to make, man. Like the Portland Trailblazers, that was an NBA team. Like, because there was one guy that I saw, it was Beasley on the bench, and I was like, oh, Michael Beasley's on the team. And then I saw the Manimal come in, Kenneth Faried, and I was like, Faried's on the team too? And then I saw who did I see? Oh, a dude took a shot and he missed it, and they was like Moutier on the miss. I was like, Emmanuel Moutier is also on the Portland Trailblazers summer league. That is an NBA team, and they had Trendon Walford from LSU. He went undrafted. a guy who, was a McDonald's All-American coming out of high school, could have, been a lottery pick coming out of high school, and he went undrafted this past summer. You know what I'm saying? So NBA is like just ridiculous, and in that same breath, Jordan, I want to call him Jordan Hill because I know a Jordan Hill, but is it Jordan Hill, right? Jordan from the
Jordan
Warriors.
Bell?
Jordan Bell.
Jordan Bell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, guys. So, Jordan Bell right there with Golden State, and then the other fellow that they had from Europe on the roster, who's a bucket and averaged like 19 points over there in the Euro League. So the NBA is a difficult place to make, man. That was just a kind of a side note for me of watching.
Was that dude you saw? Was that number 26? Or I'm thinking about something. The dude you said was from the Euro League.
That his name was like Max.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'll look at his number right now.
I know when that I can't even really pronounce his last dude name, but I know he was number 26. I was like, dang, bro, he out there looking like Kyle Korver, man.
Yo, 42
You don't need
is,
one of those.
Yeah, for sure. You need that spacing for sure. Especially with when Bogey and Gallo and Herter, when they're not on it. As we saw in the postseason, it was kind of like the Hawks were like dying of thirst, if you will. But Purcell, number 42, yo, that
42.
kid,
Okay, I'm tripping.
yo, he was playing like he on a roster spot.
He
If
needed
the
his
Hawks
spot.
don't go and give it to him,
He needed
yeah,
spot.
he was hungry.
wanted.
He was hungry. And then the Max kid, Max was 26.
Okay.
Max Heated Gager. I
can't.
don't even know why I attempted to do
I
that.
can't even do it.
Like you offend people more by attempting to do it, and
Just say 20.
But
Just
Max,
say 26.
yeah, 26, Max, number 26. Remember when Andre Iguodala watched the WNBA game and he was like, "Yo, number 26, nice."
Oh man.
Yeah, and there was like,
He should have
black
did
men
that.
don't care about black women. I was like, yo, you just watching the game on TV, man.
Got real bad for him. Say my name. Oh, okay, my bad.
And it's crazy because Iggy just went back to the Warriors. I guess B, when you look at the offseason moves from around the league, other than the Hawks, what are some of the ones that you're really looking to, I guess, that kind of maybe affect the Hawks the most?
I mean, I hate to be a homer, but I don't feel like anything really affects them. If anything, those guys getting healthy over there in Brooklyn, I mean, that's right now, honestly, I feel like that is the only team that I would be like, okay, we might. And that's because their shot making, I think we talked about this last time. It's just, there's nothing you can do with shot making. There's just nothing. There's no defense for it. I don't care if you have DeAndre and Kawhi. I don't care who you have out there. If KD is going and Kyrie is going and James is going, there's nothing you can do. And I think that's the threat of them. Now, I do think we have our advantages, and I think we kind of have over other teams when you have Collins. Thank God we signed him back. Capella. You come back with Gorgie. You get Jane, you get him off the bench. You got Gallo. So you have that length down low that could affect it. But I mean, Milwaukee's the same. They're gonna live and die off Middleton getting hot. That's just what it is. Middleton is going. They're gonna go. Miami, Kyle Lowry had his run. I don't see him being a game changer for them in any kind of way. I think he's gonna do exactly what Dragic was doing for them when he was there. I don't think it's going to just open it up. I think he's a better defender, obviously, but I mean, at this age, he's not checking Trey. He's not checking some of these, better guards. You got New York, whatever. I said that last time we came on here. I told you that they're not that good. And then you take their best defender away, which was Bullock at the time. And you put in who you got, Kemba, who doesn't play a lick of defense, never did, never will. Now, he can give you 21. He can give you 20. That's something that they didn't have, which I'm a little more worried about in terms of he's a guy that can get buckets outside of D. Rose, outside of Randall.
He's an improvement over Peyton.
Definitely improvement over Peyton, but I mean, how much – I don't even remember Peyton playing in the playoffs, which I figured he wouldn't.
He played the first 5 minutes.
If that. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, they're going to have to depend on Julius Randle. Kemba's not carrying her at this point. So Julius doesn't, take that step. I just don't see it. I don't see anything directly affecting the Hawks. I am very interested to see how that Lakers trio is gonna go, because I mean, the one person that can usually keep stuff together is LeBron. So I really want to see how that's going to go, because Russ does his own thing, and it's not. I haven't seen anybody be able to stop him from doing his own thing. In order for them to win, he can't do what he's been doing. So that I think he could play a D Wade role where he's slashing, getting to the bucket, but he's gonna have to hit some jumpers. He's gonna have to D up. That's what Dwayne turned into, a crazy defender, and let LeBron handle all that on his end. So there's a few things, but directly affecting the Hawks, I think just keeping the band together and getting them healthy puts them ahead of some of these teams that you would see.
Do you have the Hawks at the 3rd seed right now?
Yes. Clear-cut 3rd seed.
On paper, it makes sense, but also, like, things that make sense never really go as planned. Like, I don't know if we knew, like, the exact order of the playoffs, that we saw this year, in the East. I don't know if we saw Indiana being as low as they were. I don't know if we saw the Knicks being as high as they were. You know what I'm saying? So there's always that element of surprise that I'm like, I don't know.
I think we're getting more loaded up teams now, where you have those Indianas who's going to struggle to get in. I mean, they still have a solid team, but they're going to struggle to get up into that top echelon. I don't have a big issue with what Washington did, because they've gotten deeper. They literally had – now, I don't think Kyle Kuzma is anything to write home about. I do like KCP. They just have different pieces. So it's more so wanting to see how all this is going to kind of start out. And I don't see a reason the Hawks, again, if we're saying that Nate is what we say he is, if they stay healthy, even relatively healthy, and I always say you keep the band together, because you with this team that you have with so much all the way down, you can afford to lose a Cam for 2 weeks. You can afford to lose Bogey for a week or two. You can afford that. You can even afford really to lose Trey if you keep everything else. And I think that's the difference between them and everybody else. It's two ways to build a team. You either build it and try to have the strongest, 1 to 10, or you just go for those 3 guys and say, look, we're going to ride or die with these 3. Just like the Nets, if one of them gets hurt or 2 of them gets hurt, it's done, you're over with. One may be able to keep you, but they're not going to be able to win your championship. Where if you have those, 10 guys and they're all really, really, really solid, you can lose a DeAndre, who was probably your second best player at the time, and still be able to move on. You didn't have Cam or really Cam or DeAndre pretty much the whole playoffs. I mean, if you really balance it out, and you still was able to get through the number 1 seed, who was top heavy. They went down to their bench, and that's when we took advantage. So I like how Schlink is going against the grain. We're like, okay, I'm not going to build 2 guys, 3 guys and say, okay, I got all these guys. I'm going to go trade for Bradley Beal. For what? Well, what is that going to do for your team?
Thank you. These people don't get it.
Yeah, no, he's not.
They see a name that they seen on TV. K Camp rapped his name in a rap song, and they go crazy. They lose their minds.
Yeah, he's not the guy. He's not the guy that you're going to pull apart this team for. I don't think there's anybody in the league at this point outside of a KD, Kawhi. I don't think even with some of those guys, I'm still a little iffy.
Who are some of the other guys
that I would break down the team for? Only 2 people I would break down this team for is KD and Kawhi. That's it. There's nobody else in the league I would break it down for.
No one of the other top players in the league?
Not Luka?
No.
You sure?
And I like Luka, obviously. Obviously.
No,
no disrespect.
Zach said it. Zach he came on a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about untradables, and he was like, I don't think anybody on the Hawks is untradeable. Even Trey, even though there's only 5 players in the league that I'd trade Trey for, maybe Jokic, maybe Lou, and then he was like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I'm surprised he didn't get that smoke. When you say you're going to trade Trey, I wouldn't trade it, but because you formulated a perfect team, in my opinion, to where you have interchangeable parts, almost 1 through, I'd say 8, where there's really not much drop-off. There's not much drop-off between Bogey and Herter. There's not much drop-off. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, it's not much drop-off super drop off between Cam and DeAndre. Gallo could have those games to offset some of the things that John doesn't do. John offset some of the stuff that Gallo doesn't do. You know, when you get Okongwu back, well, he's more shifty and can switch more than Capella can.
And
We've
Jalen
seen
Johnson
how
now.
now you got Jalen Johnson, who's another. So it's like you have so many interchangeable parts. And if Sharife, which again, I don't see him being much of a factor this season. I love DeLon Wright. I love that pickup because he's what you need. Just a calming, hit my threes. I can get you a nice little 15-point game if a need be. So you have all these pieces that you can interchange, move around. It's like no other team has that. There's not many. And I can't think of a team off the top of my head that you can say from one, again, in my head, I'm thinking to 10 almost, that you can pretty much interchange. Like, I'm not going to be sweating if Trey has a tweaked ankle. If you can bring DeLon Wright out there and still have those guys. I'm not gonna go crazy like I was when we were bringing my guy. I mean, he's Brandon Goodwin. I like him. Not a bad player. He had his spurts, but DeLon Wright, 6'5", better defender, can shoot it just as good. Experienced player. You have that. So I think that's where the Hawks' advantage is throughout the league. It's just, again, when you run into those guys, and that's what I call them, those guys, when you say the Nets, when you have Giannis and Middleton, those guys can beat you. You're going to give yourself a better chance by going 1 through 10, be able to basically rule the matchup in every single spot. But, when you have a player like KD or a player like Giannis, they can win it by themselves almost sometimes.
B, when do you play Kevin Huerter?
I try to get it done as soon as possible because the more – like, if I could get it done now, I would, because the way he looked in the playoffs, that he carries, like, where he started to find that mid-range, then that was always the problem. He couldn't really get off the bounce and really find a spot. Like, he was finding his spots. And, I mean, obviously he's still going to be a very inconsistent up-and-down player. But I can't imagine somebody not taking a flyer out on him and saying, okay, we give him a bigger role, he could be this. Because that's all it is in the NBA. Hey, we think that we give him a bigger role. That's like I said, like, I'm really surprised John didn't get that big offer, but I think it's because we found it was a perfect year to where, like, a team like the Knicks, who would have had money, had, Julius Randle, and some of these teams that don't mind spending, they've already had somebody in position. But it's like, you mean to tell me John couldn't go to another team and average 20 and 10? I think he could, given the role. Now, I hope Nate gives him a better role.
As Bobby Portis not guarding him.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he did other things in that, and that's what I said. Like, John has accepted, and this is what I like about him. He's accepted that fourth role. Like, he's fourth. Like, whether I think he could be a more prevalent player in the offense, and I hope that Nate, with a whole offseason and a whole training camp, can start getting him more looks, because that turnaround is money. Like, he's putting in work for that turnaround. Now, does he have post moves? No. Does he have a bag? No. But I'm not in this situation. All I need from him is 18 and 8. I don't need 25 and 10. I don't need that. I have Trey.
Right. But B, my problem with Collins was when Trey was out, that was your chance to do it. Like, I feel like he did it in Miami.
Yeah.
Trey went out in Miami and John did what he had to do. And I was like, okay, good stuff, John. Ever since then, every time Trey goes out, it seemed like he forgets how to play on offense.
The whole Milwaukee series.
Yeah, but there's now Milwaukee's a terrible matchup for John. That's just, if I'm keeping it real. Between Portis, who's athletic enough, again, there's going to be certain matchups where I think, like, against Tobias Harris, should have dominated. Tobias Harris is 6'8", 6'8". You should be able to shoot over the top. You should be able to pretty much assert your will. But when you bring you got Bobby Portis, then you go to Giannis. You got Lopez there for cleanup. You got Drew Holiday digging in. You have a lot more stuff. They're just a really solid defensive basketball team. PJ Tucker, yeah, who's hacking. Like, for those type of games, and I think he started to do that one game, and I forgot what game it was. He was more active on the offensive glass. That was where he's going to have to get it. I think it was like game 4 when Trey was out, where he was just flying into the offensive glass and just that's where he was getting his points at. And I'm like, why don't you do that all the time? Like, that's why the Bucks was killing us. PJ flying in for offensive rebounds. I think Connaughton flying in for offensive rebounds, getting those extra possessions for him. And it's like, well, if we have the guys that if they fly in, you can't get stuck out on the 3-point line. You have to start asserting your will. We can't just have Capella down there. Some of those matchups, he should be able to fly in and get offensive rebounds and get some putbacks because right now, the way our offense is going to be set with Trey and Bogey, we're a perimeter-oriented team. And so he's going to have to get his on that, that trash stuff as well as hitting those threes. But 18-8, I'm good. Not that 13 and I think 13-6. I think he had in the playoffs, and that series, nah, that ain't it. But I'm still gonna pay him.
Do you feel like it's kind of weird? I mean, is it much to say that nobody didn't out of the Hawks, no other team really offered him anything? I mean, of course, it wasn't that many teams. I guess that could offer him. I guess San Antonio, OKC,
yeah,
maybe another team.
I think it was a function of they didn't want to like for instance San Antonio is extremely smart with money. They'll go take some dude from Europe and live with them. They know they're in rebuild mode. We're not going to take John Collins, and you're going to have to do something wild contractually because I think the Hawks are going to match anything. So they were going to have to do something wild, like, okay, we'll give you 20 mil, 30 mil, then we're going to rise it up to 50 mil. Because we don't basically a poison pill. Like we're not going. That's going to be the only way. I think everybody was pretty sure. And like I said, if you give away Collins, that would be like it's like you're taking a step back to hope that you can get back to where you were. Or you know what I'm saying? Like we're going to say, oh, well, we can put DeAndre there. Well, DeAndre's not a rebounder like that. Then you take him off the perimeter as a defender. Then you got to hope Cam is the Cam we've seen. He's not going to be game 6. He's not going to do that. Like let's just. I hate when people like tweet that and they're like, this is Cam, and he has like his little LeBron stare going like, relax. Like he relax.
Come on, call CEO.
You see, like, yeah, he was bent down, he had his LeBron stare. Like I like the pizzazz he came out with, but let's pump the brakes. Like he's not going 6 of 7 for 3 no, he's not doing that. So again, I don't want to hitch my wagon on something that I don't know is there. Like I don't know that Cam's going to be that guy. He hasn't really showed it. In spurts he has, but he has not really put it together. DeAndre put it together. So I know he can play my 3. I know Bogey, I know Trey is going to be there. I know those 3 are going to be there. If Cam was that guy where I know, okay, he's going to help out with rebounding, he's going to do this, and this, then I wouldn't mind moving John. And I don't ever think that a contract is untradeable. I just don't believe that. John is 23 years old. Like, if you go and say, all right, you know what? Okay, see, we're going to give you John and a first round pick. They're going to take it. They're going to take it. Why wouldn't you? Like, he's solid enough for you, and he's young enough. Now, if John was 26, 27, then we'd have like, yeah, I don't know. But at 23, yeah, running back. So, but I really think some other teams would have gotten in. Like I said, the Spurs, I'm really surprised OKC didn't get in, but I think they're all in on the tank. And I think putting John and Shaw together they probably would actually make a little noise.
So I was having this conversation with a few of my friends, and we were basically talking about like talent versus fit. And I guess we can just go to we just talk about the Milwaukee and Hawks series, I guess. And we're basically talking about like, the Hawks gave the Bucks a run for their money, but I don't know what the Hawks would have, if it was everybody fully healthy, I don't know if the Hawks would have been able to take that series because I felt like the Bucks just have the better talent. They have a top 5 player in the game, top 5. They got Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. Like, I just feel like that talent was better than the Hawks. I mean, but the Hawks have fit, like they fit well. So how do y'all feel about the whole like talent versus fit thing? Do you feel like, will you take talent over fit, or do you think fit wins most of the time over talent? I mean, it doesn't even have to be against the Bucks and the Hawks. I mean, we can think about just anything, honestly. Like when I think about the Lakers, right? Everybody's like, okay, we don't know if Russell LeBron is gonna fit. Like, we don't know how it's gonna work. But personally, I feel like at the end of the day, okay, it's Russell Westbrook, it's LeBron James and AD. Like, they're like top 10 players in the league. they're going to get you to the promised land, regardless if it fits or not. So how do y'all feel about that?
I mean, when it comes to the NBA, everybody's good. So you better have some fits. For me, it's if you're going to go by fit, how much talent is in that fit? Like, for instance, with me, I'll stand by it till the end of the year. For me, fit and talent, the Hawks have a top 5 roster in the league. Fit and talent, if you put it both together. Now, if you go to Milwaukee, they have talent. They have a top 5 player. I could argue that Middleton is a top 25-ish in that range. I could argue that. Drew Holiday is, I think, considered the best defender in the league. And if he's on offensively, he becomes a top 25-ish player. But then you go to Brook Lopez. Is Brook Lopez a top 50 player? Is Bobby Portis? Is PJ Tucker? Like, then you go to the Hawks. Well, if everybody's healthy, let's say Trey is – I'll say Trey's a top 10 player to me. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like
top
I'm reaching.
15, top 10, top 15.
Yeah, I'd put him in that 10 to 15 range. I don't think that's stretch. DeAndre was coming up. I'd put him – the way he was playing earlier in the year, I'd put him in around 30. John, at his position, there's not 5 power forwards better than John. That's true power forward. They're just not. Capella, at his position, there's not 5 centers better than Capella at his position, regardless of his fault. It's like, people was killing Capella. Like, he's going against Joel Embiid.
Better than John.
The Bobby Portis is not better than John Collins in no shape, form, or fact.
Hey, bro, you gotta stop that. You gotta stop that.
Like, and I've been seeing that. I didn't know that was a thing, but I seen that they was really acting like, Bobby was just sunning John. I don't think it went like that. But again, Bogey at the 2. Are there legitimately 7 shooting guards better than Bogdanovich? Then you go to Cam. If Cam,
hold on. But before you keep saying these, I'm gonna break these down. Okay, all right. Power forward. So you have, who do you have at power forward? Like you said, nowadays the game is so positionalist. How do you say it? Positionalist.
Positionalist.
The game is so positionalist. It's like, who's a 4? Is Giannis a 4? Is Giannis a 3? Like, what the heck?
I would say Giannis is a 4.
Is Giannis okay, so yeah.
I would say Giannis.
Giannis 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Giannis, AD.
AD.
Dang.
I don't know who's a 4 anymore. That's the thing. Like, 4s used to be like.
I mean, okay, we'll put KD. We'll put KD in there. We put KD as a 4. He's not a 4, but he plays 4 majority.
Just for argument, just
for argument's sake.
Just to give you somebody easy.
I give you that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle ain't better than John Collins. No, he's not. He's not. Julius Randle is not that good. Let's stop this. He's not that good. He's not like that. I told y'all for the people that was watching this, go back to the last time we talked. I told y'all Julius Randle ain't like that. And he went out there and was 20% from the field. He's a chucker. He's a chucker.
Oh, Zion. Zion, I'm tripping.
Zion. Okay.
Zion is Randle.
I'll say Zion. Oh, yeah, I'll say Zion.
Zion's better than John Collins.
I'll say Zion.
So
we're not going Randle?
Y'all can go Randle.
No, bro.
I didn't put Randle down.
No, so you got 4. I can't think who else.
Who starts for Denver at the 4?
Not Paul, not Michael.
Michael Porter was starting
at the 4. He was
Porter
3.
Porter was starting at a point. I don't know if because they went small.
Oh, at the 4. Yeah.
Who
was
Paul
at the 4?
Millsap. They had. We got Jeremy Grant up there.
Oh, Christian Wood. What about Christian Wood and Jeremy Grant?
Christian Wood nor Jeremy Grant is better than Collins.
Y'all
gotta stop disrespect. Y'all gotta stop disrespecting
Jeremy Grant is no limp. Hey, man, he's a gold medalist.
I'm saying
not gold medalist Jeremy Grant.
So here's the difference. Here's the difference between some of those last, they're in a better situation. If John Collins got the ball and was getting 20 shots, 25 shots a game like Julius Randle, I'm pretty sure he could go 20 and 10. Like Jeremy Grant, there was nobody in Detroit. So of course, in New Orleans, if you're telling me to pick two people, I guess this is my controversial statement. I'm going with John over Zion. That's just me. That's me. Whoever that, write it up. I'll take John over Zion. Write it up.
He said, "Write it up. Write it up."
John does more. John does more.
Offensively, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Offensively and defensively, they're about the same. Zion doesn't do anything defensively
I don't think
like
Zion
that.
plays defense.
Yeah, he's
Zion
not a defender like that.
defense.
We got to stop the hype. You got a lot of hype on Zion. Like, of course, he's a bully down low, but he can't step out and hit a three. He can't do what John does. Now they do play two different styles of basketball, but how many teams can Zion really legitimately do what he did this year? All they did this year in New Orleans is just give him the ball and said, "Hey, just go to the rim." What other team he's doing that for? That actually got players that's gonna win, because he's
That's
not as
why
skilled.
I really didn't want him on the Hawks. When everybody was hype on him going to the Hawks, I was like, man, I don't know if y'all want that, because I mean, he can't really step out. I mean, the Hawks are about spacing. He can't step out. I mean,
Trey is not Trey if you have Zion and Capella down there. They're just not, because they can't space the floor. Again, John willingly said
that first game.
He went crazy one game, and I don't think he's ever since. So it's like, yeah, you can have John willingly accepted to be basically a shooter. And I think that's where people started to get a little like, could he do more? Sure, but I think people started to get sour on John because it's like, I can't think of many players with his talent that's gonna say, all right, you know what, Trey is the man. We got Capella, who's a good role man, even though I'm just as good of a role man. But I know Capella can't stretch the floor, and he's a great. So I'm gonna make sure that he's getting his. I got Bogdanovich, who again was a great shooter. He's gonna need his touches. I'll take my little 10 shots a game. Like, I'll be on Twitter and they're like, well, why did John only get one shot in the fourth quarter? Well, he's a fourth freaking option. Like, relax. Like, he'll be there when you need him. Whether it was against Philly with the kick out, whether I think there was another game earlier in the year where he had a kick out corner three where he hit. He'll be there when you need him. But again, in this role, he does not need to be Zion. He doesn't need to be Julius Randle. Like,
or Christian Wood or Jeremy Grant.
I'm not definitely not Jeremy. Definitely not Jeremy. And I like Jeremy, but I think he just had free reign to do what he wanted to do in Detroit. So he looked better than he was. Again, every player with the opportunity with talent can do what they do. Now Christian Wood is interesting because I think him and John are very similar, because Christian Wood can step out and hit the shot. He's a great rebounder. I think they're similar, but I wouldn't take Wood over John. I would.
Okay.
Again.
Okay, now shooting guard. Now shooting guard.
Yeah.
Shooting guard. Booker.
Nah, do center. I was literally just thinking about center. I don't know if he a top 5 center.
Clint's the top 5? Oh yeah, Clint's the top 5 center, bro.
Clint's top 5 for sure.
Yeah. Embiid, Jokic.
Because he led the lead in rebounds and didn't he lead the league in blocks? Or was he like second in the league?
He was like second or third. But who got Embiid, Jokic?
Yeah,
Embiid, Jokic.
And then it goes all the way down after that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not 2012, Malik.
Gobert?
Okay, Gobert.
I'll give you that. I'll give you Gobert. That's it.
I literally just had another dude. What about Bam?
Hell no. I gotta stop cussing on here. Gotta be friendly.
I don't know if Bam is like that much of a stretch, but even if so, that's 4.
He's not that much of a stretch, but I wouldn't put him over Capella.
Yeah, you have to think Capella is like he led the league in rebounds. And was top 5.
Capella. I mean,
that does say a lot. You're right. Matter of fact,
again, we looked at what Embiid did. And was like, oh, like, I'm sorry. I mean, I was seeing people crush Capella. I'm like, Joel Embiid's gonna do that to any center in the world. There's no center they're like, oh, we can go get Karl Anthony Towns. He's gonna do that to Karl Anthony Towns in the playoffs. They play 2 times a year, and you think?
Oh yeah,
Karl
what
Anthony
about
Towns,
Cat?
I don't think he's better than Capella. I don't think. There's nothing. I mean,
that's what I was thinking about Cat.
I'm gonna say maybe in this situation because he's out in Minnesota, he's not doing anything but just putting up a bunch of numbers, and even then, it's still spotty when he plays against the better players. Typically, doesn't have the best of games. From what I see, again, I don't really. I mean, who the hell is watching the Timberwolves? I mean, I watched them this year because of Ant, but I mean, outside of that, I'm not watching them.
So,
but yeah,
John Collins
on the
is
Hawks
better.
like 5
John
years
Collins
ago.
is better than Zion, and Cat is better than. No. Capella's better than Cat.
Yeah, I take that. I mean, that's just
Cat
my
put up
team.
50 on the Hawks, man.
B, I ain't gonna lie, man.
He probably took 30 shots.
You come on the show 3 times. I ain't never heard you sound like this much pro Hawks. I ain't never sound. You said you got to sit back and think about what you just said right here on this show. You said John Collins was better than Zion Williamson, and Clint Capella was better than Karl Anthony Towns.
Tell me what makes Zion so like. Are we going off his name and the highlights? Are we going off what he really is? Like he is a. I'm going to put my head down,
man. He dominates the
game. He dominates the game.
He doesn't need anybody else. Like I said, I go back to Trey was out a lot of these games, and John act like he didn't know how to move on offense if Trey Young wasn't spoon feeding him the ball.
But that's also a function of your offense in itself, which is my big problem with the other guy, is that his offense was so manila that John didn't do anything else. John didn't. There was no post ups. There was no anything. Like there was nothing for him to show his offensive versatility, which is the reason why I think John may have soured on the other guy. Is because if I'm going and I'm working on my turnarounds, I'm working on my skills, and then come back next year and I'm running pick and rolls all year, pick and pops. What the hell was I doing? Like, because when I seen him get in the post, face up, and take that shot, he was very efficient with that shot. So that should have been a shot when you're getting all those switches. All them teams that switch, that should be an easy one. Pick and roll, switch, get it down to John, turn around and shot. That should be a secondary option in your offense almost every single time. But again, with LP's offense, which they continuously ran throughout the year, even throughout the playoffs, even though there's a little bit of nicks and things here that McMillan put in, but for the most part, they pretty much ran that same core.
I think the thing that's really lacking in John's game, and when we compare him to Zion and Julius, is his ability to create, basically. Because, I mean, you can give the ball to Zion and Julius, and, I mean, we seen Julius, like, he can create. Yeah, I didn't see Julius. We don't need John to do that. You don't need John to do that when you got Trey. So
but
it's
for instance,
but I'm talking about the games when Trey wasn't playing.
When Trey wasn't playing, I feel you.
And I feel like as John, you need to be the guy to step up and be like, yo, I want to be the guy tonight. You know, Bogey playing hobbled on one leg. He hasn't had it going all series since he's been hurt. So-and-so's hurt. This is a backup. Herter's a backup. Lou's a backup. Let me be that guy. I feel that DeAndre Hunter's out for the rest of the postseason. Let me be that, and he just didn't do that. So
now, what I will say is, and this is coming from, again, I'm a lower level high schoolish coach, so I'm not gonna go and act like I'm just this Phil Jackson. But if I put in an offense, and this is why I always say, like, your offense predicates what you can do. When Julius Randle and the Knicks, we've seen it. They went straight ISO and said, "All right, Julius, hell, you give me 20 shots a game and see what happens." Like. So is Julius a great ball handler? No. Is he anything special to me offensively? No. He just really was able to get the confidence. Somebody said, "Hey, look, we giving you the ball. Go with it." Like, I'm giving you the confidence because I'm telling you to go. We don't have anybody else. I'm not gonna rely on Bullock. I'm not gonna rely on Peyton. Really not gonna even rely on D Rose. I'm gonna rely on you to go get us buckets. So he became a little bit. He had to do things that most people didn't. I didn't think he could do a lot of the stuff that he was doing this year because he was never asked to. So now you go into Zion. Early in the year, Zion was because they was not asking him to do what they began to do towards the end of the year when they was like, "All right, Lonzo, you get in the corner. Brandon Ingram, you get in the other corner. Steven Adams, you get in the short corner." And then Josh Hart or whoever was over there, all right, you go to the right side wing because Zion's going to go left. And if you're going to stop him, you're going to stop him. Now, you can do that all in the regular season. But trust me, if they would have really got into a postseason matchup, there's no way in hell with his lack – because he hasn't gotten to the Giannis where he can Euro in, where he hasn't gotten there yet. So that's why I say he's like a poor man's version, or I'll say a middle-class version of Zion. I mean, of Giannis, which is good. I mean, he's great, but it's not there. I don't see a big difference between – I think if you gave John more of that opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to give you this face-up. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you the chance. Even with Trey out here, I'm going to give you the chance to be that guy. I think you start to see. There's no reason. There's how many games that you guys tweet, hey, look, why the hell did John only have 11 shots? And that's a product of your offense. That's just what that is. Our offense is centered around Trey Young. And Trey is going to he's going to get his 20 shots. Then you got Bogey and you got your shooters coming off screens. And realistically, all you're asking John to do is space the floor and be a lob guy. You're not asking him to face up. That's just stuff that he was really getting kind of out of the offense more of his face up stuff. So I think if you ask him to do more, he can do more. You don't score 20 and 10 in your second year and just be like, you all right. Where Zion, he put his head down and he went to the bucket. And that's it. There's no diversity in his game. There's none. At least not right now. I'm not saying he couldn't be. Now, if you're telling me, no, when I say the Zion, if you're asking me for this coming up year, I'm taking John over Zion. Now, if you're talking about later and we're going on, then I'll take Zion because I believe that Zion will start getting, even if he just gets a three-point shot, he becomes a different player. So I do believe, again, I always look at that like, okay, if you're telling me 2 or 3 years down the road, I think Zion will start to get a little bit of a shot. It's not like his shot is terrible. It's not like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist or anything. Like, if he, at worst, it's going to be a Josh Smith, where it's like, we don't really want you to shoot. You might get hot one game. We don't really want you to shoot. He could be one of those guys.
Okay. And then, but I want to go back to shooting guard. So you said Bogey's top 7 shooting guard.
I give him top 7.
Harden, Book,
Zach.
Who?
Zach.
Yeah.
Bill.
Chris
who?
Middleton. Is he a 3 or
Middleton?
Is he a 2 or a 3?
He's more of a 3 because he goes from 3 and plays at 4 too.
Okay.
So I'll put him in that.
Okay. So 4. Who's in the West?
CJ?
All right.
McCoy?
I guess.
Oh, what?
Listen,
I guess.
Listen,
Hey,
if y'all want to put it,
hey, be right there with me. Be right there with me. Be
if
right
y'all
there
want to
with
put him
me.
in for argument's sake, I'm cool with that. But I don't think he's better than Bogdan.
What against CJ now?
Be right there with me. Like
CJ ain't that guy.
I used to be a big CJ guy, but this year he kind of got exposed, man.
Nah, CJ ain't that guy. Man. CJ ain't that guy.
CJ got exposed. This
He
season.
ain't that guy. He ain't that guy.
And like
if you're playing with next to the Lillard, you're playing next to arguably one of the best point guard in the league, and you can't get off over there nightly. Now Clay, I'll give you Clay.
Clay, yeah. Clay, that's a good
Clay
one.
is 5. I got 5.
Mitchell.
Donovan, okay.
That's 6.
That's 6.
Jamal Murray.
I mean, after a minute though, you kind of
Jamal Murray plays point.
You kind of
Oh,
searching.
sure.
Jamal Murray plays point.
Jamal plays point. But shoot, I mean, after 6,
Yeah, he
After
better.
6,
He better.
you kind of got to start searching for some.
You got Utah.
Well,
we talked about
Is
Portland.
Jalen 3 or 2?
Jalen Brown. I'll give you that.
Okay.
Even though he played more 3 this year because Tatum played the 4. Yeah, played the 4. Marcus Smart usually was at that 2. Then they had Kemba.
Yeah.
But I think they had to kind of move it around, and so But this year, I think he'll probably be more of a 3. But
True. Yeah.
tomato. I'll give you Jalen. So and then you still got 7. So okay, we're looking at 8.
Okay, so you gonna put Steph as a shooting guard?
No.
Steph is point. Absolutely.
Steph is one of the greatest point guards in NBA history.
I thought he said Steph.
Oh no. No. I'll give you 8. You got 8 guys. And
I was just thinking around the league. I'm just thinking around the league. it's crazy. The league is like.
I mean, he top 10 for sure.
Yeah, but
because
the league ain't what I thought it was. You know, like
well, no,
just
because
like,
we look at our team and we look at it and we're like, you know, like. But when you really think and start breaking down positional by positional, we have top 10 talent in every single position. Like Trey is.
That's crazy to think about.
And that we've never had that. And that's so now it's like we're thinking, and it's like, and I thought about that, and I'm like, John is a top 5, 6 power forward. Capella's a top 5. Like every single starter is a top 8 to 9 at best. DeAndre, I would venture to say DeAndre is at 10.
Okay, I was about to say small forwards. Small forwards is tough.
I feel like point guards and forwards are like top heavy in the league, of course. Like as far as talent, like point guards and forwards.
Most of your better players are at that 6'7", 6'8",
yeah.
And then you have your point guards. So when you start talking about that, you know, the way DeAndre was playing on both sides of the ball, I'd give him 10. And I mean, I would have to start counting them out, but I think once you get to 10, you start to, you know, but that's still good.
February, DeAndre Hunter was different, man.
Yeah,
he was like off for the All-Star game before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And people outside of Atlanta, they'll look at you crazy when you say that, but he was killing.
It was true.
Yeah, but this is like we haven't had that. So you have a second-year guy who's a fringe 10, fringe All-Star kind of guy. You got a bona fide superstar point guard. You got a Bogdanovich who is out. I can't because you have enough guys who really don't get hurt. And Bogdanovich probably won't get the touches, but I think if he got the touches, that's a borderline fringe all-star guy. Capella is a borderline all-star guy. John Collins, as much as we drag on him, if he's featured in offense, he's averaged 17 and 8 this year. Like he's not a scrub.
He's averaged 20 and 10 before.
20 and 10, 17 and 8, and that's in a backseat role in a pick and roll offense that, you know, didn't even feature him at all. So it's like, you know, we have guys all the way down the line. I mean, and even Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter's not far off that top 10 shooting guard list.
Okay, now you tripping.
He's not. I ain't gonna say he's top 10. I ain't gonna say he's top 10. But if you're talking about the Kevin Huerter I've seen in the playoffs, who played
game 7, Kevin Huerter.
No, it wasn't just that because he had a lot of timely shots. I'm not talking about the 20-point performance. That is what it is. I'm looking at. You didn't have DeAndre. You didn't have Cam. Kevin was checking some of your better guys, you know. So you had Kevin checking some of your better guys, and then he had to come in, and he was hitting a lot of timely shots. He was really your only consistent shooter in the playoffs once Bogey got hurt.
Moving the offense along well, too.
Yeah, and I mean, so I'm not going to say he's top 10. No, don't get me there. Now, if you're talking about 15, which again, if you're talking about top 15, I can't think of 15 better because you're talking about Evan Fournier. I don't think he's in that. He's better than Evan Fournier because of his ball handling and his playmaking ability.
I think he's better than Evan Fournier today?
I do. Because I don't see all I see is Evan Fournier as a scorer, where I see Kevin Huerter as a solid defender, which he showed. He was able to initiate the offense, became a better playmaker. So I'm looking at all the other stuff. Of course, Evan Fournier, if we're talking score for score, Evan Fournier is probably going to be better. But I would think that if I'm who has him? The Knicks. I would take Kevin Huerter because of your secondary playmaking ability, which again he had to develop. He didn't have that when he first got in the league. So it'd be interesting to see this year if that continues to get better. So again, I don't want to be super pro Hawks, but I don't want to sit here and crap on them because they're my team. Like they have a lot of pieces. So
B, from what I've heard for the past 30 minutes, I feel like you're the type of guy that's taking a player that's like average at a couple of things, but is it really like excelling at one thing instead of like taking a player that's like really good at this one thing? You're
because
more
I can do more. Like that could be that could do my coaching speaking. Like if I have a player over here who can shoot the lights out, that's great. But what happens when they press up on you? What happens? Like think about Kyle Korver in the playoffs. What does Kyle Korver's really never all that great in the playoffs.
Yes.
And I love Kyle, but they're gonna press up on you. They're not gonna let you get that. When you have Huerter, if Huerter was just a shooter, there's no way you get that game 7 because they were pressing up on him. And what he was doing, he's taking it, getting off the dribble, getting to his spot and making a shot. So that means now you're becoming a scorer, not just a shooter. Then,
Yeah.
okay, if they double off, now I can kick it out. Now I can use you as a backup point when we had to use Kevin as a backup point. Is he great at backup? No, but he's serviceable. It'll work. So I'm looking at Bogey. Bogey, secondary playmaker. He can play make. He can put the ball on the floor. Again, he's a passable defender. Like, I look at that to where when I see a guy like Evan Fournier, I'm like, okay, well, I know he can shoot the lights out. I know he can score. He can get his buckets, but what else is he really giving you? Is he giving you a secondary playmaker? Because everybody in the league can shoot pretty much now. Like, everybody, like, you know, so if you got
except
two
for
shooters,
1 point guard.
Except for 1 point guard. Yeah, you got like one or two. But it's like, again, that's why I look at Trey, and me and my homie had a little bit of a discussion, and this may be another one, but I think Trey, do I really want to say this on here? Because I don't know.
Yes, go ahead.
I think Trey is better than Kyrie.
No. On this pod, you're not getting any arguments from me, anything pro Trey. I'm anything pro Trey, except for if you say he top 5. Then you're getting that argument from me.
No, top 5. No, me and him had an argument. I said he's better than Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I said the same thing to people as well.
He's probably the best point guard in the East.
I would say he's the best point guard in the East. I would say he's the second or third best point guard in the league. I'm only putting Steph over him and Dame. That's it. I can't from what he gives you. From what and we're not gonna act like it's like well.
Wait, hold on. Do you put Luka as a PG? Because some people put Luka as a PG.
Yeah, Luka not a PG. And what he is? What, small forward?
I would say he's a small. I'm trying to think of what lineup, because like I don't see Ben as one, because they usually put a small guy out there to kind of compensate for the fact that he's out there. But they actually stopped doing that for a while. I mean, I know Ben's fell off the face of the earth, but I mean, who they had? They had Richardson. Who was at 3? No, I would say Luka is a point. I mean, the way Dallas ran their lineup, he's point guard.
Well, when people say like the top point guards, top list or whatever, like he's always in the list, and I'm like, I never looked at Luka as a.
I mean, I always look at, because like when I used to look at LeBron, when they used to put him at point, they would still have like Schroeder or somebody that's he's not bringing the ball up, but he's out there with him. So that is your de facto point guard. But like with the Mavs, I think they run pretty much Luka at point. Like I don't see anybody else bring up the ball or anybody
brings
else
the ball up every play.
Yeah, like I don't think he's even like a de facto, like where you have a Jalen Brunson out there, kind of your point, but he's just not bringing the ball up. So yeah, I'll put Luka as a point.
Then about Russ. Literally the thing you said, Trey's better than Russ, bro.
Yeah, Trey's better than Russ. No, I
mean, all due respect to Russ, he's a legend. Yeah, one of the greatest of his generation. As of
now if you
Trey's
as of today, like if you're talking about Oklahoma Russ, nah, Oklahoma Russ was an animal. Yeah. This guy's still an animal, but he's an older animal, and you got Trey, who is, like I said, Trey is a legit, and he might be like one of 3. He may be the only guy in the league, because I don't think Damon that can go for 30 and 10 on a nightly basis. 30 points, 10 assists on a nightly basis. Now you can put Luka in that. I mean, if you're talking about point guards, if you want to put James in that, you could say that. But out of those 3, who else in the league can consistently go for 30 and 10? Maybe LeBron, but I mean, I don't. Yeah, like maybe. Yeah, he's not a big time scorer.
He was the only one who did it a couple of years ago, and still was an All NBA that year.
Yeah, so that's
crazy.
That's where I look at it. It's like you have a guy who there's not many people that can do what he does, regardless of what you think about his defense. Those defensive metrics are so ridiculous that it's like, how can you even use that? Just watch the game. He's small, like just like every other small guy. There's gonna be some problems like nobody talked about Isaiah Thomas. They wasn't doing switching back then. Like you were just checking up. Like if they was doing switching, Isaiah Thomas' little ass would have got lit up too back in the bad boy days. I don't care how tough you are. If you got a 6'8" dude, like you gonna get smoke. You think about Isaiah Thomas getting.
Well, the thing about Trey though is like when he first got in the league, there were so many possessions where he just didn't try. And
that's what that was the biggest thing.
So it's like those clips, like they kind of like it's like the James Harden thing where James Harden had a couple clips where he didn't try and he had the reputation he had to play off for like the next 5 seasons.
And that's kind of where he at, because like Trey this year, especially once Nate took over. He was a pest out there, and that's what all you ask for
Right.
from somebody that size. Just be a pest. You don't care. You're not gonna stop nobody, but be a pest. So yeah, I think going back, you think you have players within that top 10 range in every position.
And this argument of the way that you look at basketball players, this is the exact same argument I've had with someone for the past week of Asia Wilson versus who was it? It was Asia Wilson versus Breanna Stewart, among other players and stuff like that, of how Asia's such a post player, and they're like, yeah, Asia's great, but she's just on the post, and most of her shots come in the paint and around the paint. Like she has a one dribble turnaround that's nice, but like other than that, she can't stretch the floor to the three. And it's like, and I'm like, but bro, like she's still averaging 20 and 10. She's still the MVP. She's still the second greatest player. And like, so we had that whole argument like for the past week during the Olympics and stuff like that.
Now, I'm like, look, Stewie nice, man.
Yeah. Oh, no. Stewie's the best player in the world. You don't have no argument from me.
Yeah,
but it's like,
nice.
but people have that, kind of just argument of, I'd rather take a player because a player can stretch the floor and bring up the ball and can handle the ball and hand it off and run, as opposed to a B player who is amazing at what they do and it makes them amazing, but they're just limited to this type of game. So
yeah. Now, if you're elite at something, like for instance, Clay is an elite shooter, but he can't play make. He's not off the dribble. Right. He's not doing any of that. To me, when Clay is healthy, he's the best. He is what you want in a shooting guard. Like you don't, of course you have James, but again, James he's not, even though he's gotten better, he's still not a great defender. So now I started to add up those things where Clay, if you leave Clay open, he's not going to miss. Like that's just, there's not many players in the league you really feel like that outside of his teammate, which is Steph. Where like you leave them guys open, it's over with. And like so there's certain things like if you're just that much elite, then you
Jello
compensate.
Jello ball.
Hey, Jello, man. Bring Jello to Atlanta. Jello to Atlanta. I'm all in on Jello, man. I'm telling you, I'm all in. But yeah, it's like, like when we talked about the Evan Fournier and Kevin thing, I feel like they're shooting wise, they're around the same. So now what else? What else does now you start to separate it? Like when I talk about Julius and John, well, I think again, and this is me, I say if John had the opportunity, he would be a 22 and 10 guy. I really truly believe that. So I think he's more efficient than Julius. He can shoot the three probably better than Julius. I know they were both about 40, right at 40%. But outside of that, is Julius a better defender than John? I don't think so. Like there's certain things that now when you start getting there, when they're like right here and they're right even, now you start to look at the other stuff. Like I said, Kyrie and Trey. Well, they're both amazing scorers. They do it in different ways, but they're both amazing scorers. They both don't really play that great defense because of their stature. They both don't really play great defense. But Trey is an amazing elite playmaker. Kyrie is not. So that's where that's where I started to move my players around ranking wise.
So do you feel like, as far as, John is giving you what the team is asking him for, like as far as him maximizing his talent, when you start thinking about things like all-stars and like all-star appearances, all NBA, do you feel like that just him being like in that bubble, do you feel that'll affect him in the future as far as like getting accolades like that?
If they continue with the same offense that they ran this year, he will be what he is. Unless the Hawks just go crazy and start winning. Like remember, like Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was a 17-8, 17-9, maybe 18-9 when he was with the Heat. But because the Heat was just so good, he was getting those all-stars. Come on, why not?
Right.
Like,
Kevin
so
Love.
it's like, Kevin Love. Like those guys wasn't averaging 20 and 10. Like now, if John went to another team, a la Kevin Love, a la Chris Bosh in Toronto, of course he can go for 20 and 10. But he doesn't need to do that. So it would be a Hawks getting that, having one of the best records in the league. And you look at the team, because outside of Trey, the rest of the team is going to be pretty even. So now it's like, who do you want to take? Like, is it DeAndre that year? Is it John? Because that's what I thought. If they would have been on that same path, and let's just say they were a top 2 seed, you're looking at all-stars. Let's just say you take 2 at the all-star break. Do you take John? Do you take DeAndre? That's a toss-up because they were both playing good basketball at that point.
Yeah, I'm going. Me personally, I'm going Teague and Korver.
But see, that's what I'm saying, like them. But no, like that's a good example. Like with them, all of them got on, all four of them got on, but it was because they had the best record. None of them wasn't putting in work like that. Like I think Teague was averaging like 15 and 8. Like Korver was like 15 and like that's why I feel like people would be pumping up this all-star. Like, no, it's like a lot of people.
Anybody averaging 20 on that team?
I don't think anybody was. Maybe Millsap was around 19. Maybe
Millsap.
Maybe.
That's crazy.
But no, like nobody was averaging all-star numbers, but they were able to come on like Korver. We were having such a good year. It was like, all right, come on, Korver. Like, somebody got hurt. Was it Wade or somebody got hurt? Like, yeah, come on, Korver. Like, yeah, like why not? Come on, like that. Like Middleton probably got like 3 or 4 like all-star appearances because the Bucks were just so good. It's like, well, who else? All right, come on, Middleton. Man. We can't just take Giannis. Like somebody else got to come. But Middleton wasn't putting in work like that. Like so.
Here it is right here. Here's the starting lineup. Paul Millsap, 16.7 points per game.
Jeez.
Kyle Korver, 12.1 points per game. DeMarre Carroll, 12.6 points per game. Al Horford, 15.2 points per game. Jeff Teague, 15.9 points per game. Dennis Schroeder, 6-man, 10 points per game.
Like, come on. Korver's an all-star was averaging 12 points. I don't care how good he was shooting.
12, bro.
I don't care how good he was shooting. And I love Kyle. Kyle might be
He was averaging 4
3s. He was averaging 12, and he made an all-star game. That's insane.
I didn't realize how crazy that was. Like back then, it just made sense. It was like, oh yeah,
it just made sense. Yeah.
He's an all-star. But now looking back on it, 12 points,
and then they were so hot at the time. You remember they had just came off that undefeated month. So it's like you just in February rolled around, you got the All-Star game. So it's like it was just perfect timing for everything. Yeah, it's like that's just how things worked out. So it's like when it comes to
should have got in. DeMarre should have got in.
I think DeMarre should have got in over Kyle, personally. I mean, in that year, because DeMarre was your defensive stopper. He was also knocking down threes. Yeah. Like, he was your guy.
That was LeBron stopper.
Yeah, he was. You had him and Cephalosha that you could. I don't think nobody was stopping LeBron that year. That was prime time. That was prime time.
Not in the playoffs.
That was powder talk LeBron right there. But I mean, they just. Like I said, I think John will get to that point. I think he'll get one, but it'll be a function of the Hawks are just, a top team.
So good.
They're one of those top 2 or 3 teams where you kind of have to. You can't just take Trey. You have to take somebody else. And I don't think anybody on this team outside of Trey is going to average 20. Like I don't even see DeAndre when he gets I don't see him averaging 20. And again, that could change based off of Nate's offense. It all predicates off Nate's offense. Like. If Nate decides to go in a more motion-heavy, not as much pick and rolls, which, I mean, I don't see how – you have Trae Young. I don't think you can go away from that. So now you think of, okay, can DeAndre get his off – like, they were starting to give it to him that mid-post, letting him go to work. Like, would they do that with John? I don't know. Like, so it just depends on the offense. Now, if they go back with the same offense, you're going to have a bunch of 15 to 17 – kind of like that team, but then you're going to have Trey who's going to get his 25 to 30 a game. So I do think John's going to make one, though. Might be this year.
You guys.
That's all I have. That's all I have. I'm good, Malik.
Cool. All right. I guess it's time for our weekly questions. So have we done this with B? The Mount, have we did the Mount Rushmore with you, B? Hawks Mount Rushmore?
I haven't gotten that.
You haven't been here since the offseason.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
It was before the playoffs.
So every week we ask who is your Hawks Mount Rushmore. Ours kind of changes. I think mine's kind of stayed the same the past 2 weeks maybe, but I don't know about Rashad's. Has yours been the same, Rashad?
I think mine has been the same the past couple of weeks. When we first started it, I used to change it every week. Now it's been like kind of solid.
Yeah. All right, so B, who's in your Hawks Mount Rushmore?
That's tough. Definitely Neek, obviously. I think that's pretty simple. Neek, give me Joe Johnson. Give me Neek, give me Joe Johnson, give me Al Horford, and give me Trae Young. Give me,
okay, that's solid. That's solid.
That's it. Give me that. Give me that.
I like that. I like that. I think I'm gonna keep mine the same. I'm gonna go Jeff Teague for sure, Hawks legend. Joe Johnson. I'm gonna go Al, and I'm gonna go Neat. Kind of tempting to put Trey in there since he got the contract, but I'm gonna lay low for a minute.
I'm gonna go Neek, Joe, Trey, and Dikembe. I think that's been my four for the past couple of weeks. So I'm gonna just rock. Okay, I'm still rocking.
I was going back and forth between Mutombo and Horford, but Horford was holding it down for a long time.
Yeah,
he held it down for a long.
Yeah, for like a decade, nearly.
Yeah, I gotta give him that. But I like that. I like that.
Favorite Hawks team?
It's hard to say. 2008 was like when I like fully like I was always kind of on the fence with the Hawks, but that 2018 with Joe and Josh and all of them, that kind of brought me all the way in. But my favorite team was 2015. I mean, that was a fun team because you just between Teague having his moments. Like I remember the game against Golden State where it was just crazy. I mean, like that team was just a fun team. This past team was. I think if it wasn't for all the LP stuff and all the little crazy little stuff, like I thoroughly enjoyed 2015 all the way through. Whether it be from on Twitter, I enjoyed it. Like all the way through, I enjoyed it. Like this year, like I can barely get on Twitter with the Hawks now, but at that point, and it was a different time. You know, I was back when the
air was different. You had to be outside.
That was what I'm saying. The old heads was in there holding it down then. But it's like that 2015 team was just so much fun all the way across the board. That would probably be my favorite team. I still think they would have beat the Cavs if they'd have been healthy. Straight up.
Now that I think about it, as far as like Hawks Twitter back in 2015 and now, it seemed like, and I don't know if I was really that tapped in with Hawks Twitter back in 2015, but it just seemed like everybody was kind of on the same accord. Like everybody was like, it weren't really that many problems on my side when I was looking, but I'm on Hawks Twitter now, bro. It seems like it's a different argument every day. The Hawks fans arguing and doing. I'm like, dang, bro.
Because back then, like even during the Joe years, when I first got on Twitter, it was like you didn't have a Trae Young who was he's divisive. Like he is definitely first mega star that you've had. Like Joe was cool, but he was just like, all right, it's Joe. But then once Joe got that contract,
Joe was the biggest argument back then because of
and that's
the contract.
That was once he got the contract, and I remember like I was like Joe's biggest advocate, and I was like, you can't. I'm always an advocate of people getting paid anyway because I'm like, let's not act like there's not other bad contracts out there. And what the hell else you gonna do? You gonna get rid of Joe then what? You gonna have Flip Murray as your two? Cool, all right, bet. Let's go back to being trash, like. And so it's like I'm always been an advocate of that. So now it's like some of those teams, and back then it was just like everybody kind of was. It was just fun because, especially 2015, because I don't think of course we didn't. I thought it was gonna be like we'll be the 7 seed, 6 seed, and we'll get smoked in the first round, and then you start to see the progression of that team, and then it was like, oh, okay, geez, and then even 2009, you thought Joe was going to be that guy at some point. Of course, he never turned into that guy. He was still very solid. You had Josh Smith, who was still young. You had Al Horford. So it was still that promise, like, okay, maybe. But then once those guys start getting paid, now it's like – and that's usually when stuff falls apart. But you just knew from the start that Trae was going to be a guy that was going to transcend. So it's like I see like a bunch of Twitter handles. It's like Ice Trae or 1 seat 3 Trae, or like I see a lot of that stuff, and those are the ones that like I think one of them was like we shouldn't play John Collins, and like they were going crazy. I'm like, wait, what? Like, so it's like you get more of that.
But NBA Twitter is different too now. Like with the whole like the little kids in the ratio, Lamicki, like Lamicki,
But you get a lot of older
refs.
folks too. Like I don't know, a lot. Ms. D, shout out to you, but she's a decisive. Like if you say something bad about John, she riding. Like straight up, she on you. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you say something about Cam, she on your ass. Like she on you. So it's like
true.
Back then,
that's real.
Back then we only had one person do that. There's only one person that in all of Hawks Twitter that I remember, and I was really tapped in. There was only one person that would go off on you or like really get into you, and she's still around. I think I like muted her like a few years ago. I forgot her. Yeah. I forgot her name. Shout out to Mo. Like
because she was with the whole bringing around the early 2010s. She wanted Dwight to come home because Dwight had his contract up in 2012. So and then they signed Lou Williams the year before that. So it was real bad when they signed Lou. She was like, Lou only signed here. Josh Powell was on the team. So she was like, Lou only signed here so he could play with Dwight. And the Hawks didn't do it. And then she tweeted Lou. She was like, I'm sorry, Lou, that we couldn't get Dwight for you. And we left you here with Paul Millsap instead. And you wanted to play with Josh. And she
used to be out there rack, man. She used to be out there rack.
She still be tagging players too.
I see that. That's my thing.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the tagging players.
I'd be like, I don't understand that. They don't care, So it is like I said, you getting blocked by Lloyd, like. Cause how do you get blocked? Like what? Like you get in his inbox enough for him to be like, you know what? I'm gonna block this person. Like you tagging him, you got to. Like you have to be. And then you like, oh, but he's soft. No, like I'm not about to listen to that. What the hell? Like it's gonna be cracking me up,
Hawk
man.
Twitter is different.
But it's just a different time. Like back then, we just accepted. Like even when we used to have those games where I forgot what year it was when Dwight Orlando team was just beating the brakes off of us every game. And we still made it fun. I think it was like things, we hashtag things to say during a blowout. People were just talking about this different stuff.
Different.
And it just made it that ass. We were getting beat by 45 every game. And it just made it so easy to take. Because it was like, it is what it is. But now it's
jokes
like
about Michael Vick would pop up. Like,
man, it turned into like straight comedy hour for that whole second half. Because I'll never forget that series. I remember it was on TNT. And they cut to Ernie, Chuck. They were like playing cards. They had the game on the side. And they're just like playing cards because it was like a 40-point. It was like 90-40 something. Like it was ugly. Wow. And we just on Twitter just having a grand old time, just joking and everything. So it was just different. Like now it's like there's so many. Like I'm just like, why are y'all so divisive on every single thing? Like you finally.
I got into one fight. B. I'm not gonna lie. I got into a fight with Jamila over Joe Johnson.
Jamila?
Yeah.
Jamila out of all the people.
Out of all?
I feel so bad about it every single time. Like I see Jamila, I still think back to it, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Jamila. I was just a kid.
Like I'm sorry.
I was just a kid. Like I was like 16, 17.
What were y'all arguing about the contract?
It was Joe. Like after he left, I think the fans were booing Joe when he came back, and then she was like, I don't get why they're booing him. And I was like, that bum, he didn't win us a championship. And she was like, championships, like 29 teams aren't going to win the championship every year. And I was like, he's getting paid Kobe Bryant money. He didn't do a thing, and he's not Kobe. And
I'm actually surprised.
He's not Kobe.
She clapped back at you. I'm surprised she came back.
I know, right?
Because then again, I was the older me. Like me, I know me. That's my homie, and she got it in her. But she rarely brings it out. So I'm really surprised that it even came out.
This is like 2011, 2012.
But that was 2011, so she's probably in her 20s. And she still didn't care, because I got into it with everybody. I ain't gonna hold you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no! One of my favorite fights was you and Yuri.
Oh man, because is he still on Twitter? Like he used to be asking me just crazy. So I actually met him in person too. Like I was cool. I'm cool with everybody, but I forgot what he said. Oh yeah, he wanted me to read one of his like pieces. Like he was doing his like journalist thing, and and I was like, okay, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like
this ain't it.
I had to keep it real, man. I think I said it was bland because it was like he literally just put like, this person averages this, and this. I'm just like, bro, you ain't gonna make it like
doing that.
Yeah, it's like you ain't gonna make it like that. Like if I read y'all two stuff, I'm like, okay, that informs.
If he came back at you, and then I put this was with the manual RTs, and I put the RT, and I was like, hashtag interracial brawls, and you was like, nah,
hey, y'all was wild.
Yeah,
it
was different. The air was different, man.
It was wild. Like I think people was making Twitters, so like I made one for Joe. Like it was max contract Joe when he got his contract, and everybody was like, I was tweeting at everybody. Like I made one for Larry
what was the
Drew.
boy's name that they drafted with Dennis Schroeder with the hair, the Brazilian?
Was it?
They made one for him.
Pop Psy. They made one for him.
No, Pop C. He was French. He was French.
They made one for him. They made one
was
for,
like his name was Dede or Nene or something like that.
I know you're talking about. Yeah. Everybody had something. It was just more fun than it was. Or people were just joking around with everything instead of the back and forth. Like, oh no, we should go get X, Y, and Z.
Everything is so serious now.
Yeah.
It's so like
you can get canceled
I guess that's
just like
what
that.
comes with having like a winning team. But even when the team was bad, Hawks Twitter like 2 years ago was like just. I don't want to say toxic, but it was just, like
once they got Trey.
Yeah.
Once they got Trey,
once they got the season before they got Trey, it was pretty like I ain't really
cool.
seen crazy.
No one cared about the team.
Yeah,
everybody cared about
the team like that. Now you get a lot of people, like I think Dwight was here, everybody was cool with that. Nobody had beef with Kent Bazemore. Well, some people did, but I mean, like even this year, I went at all the playoff games. Jeff T comes in and he gets booed. Like, what the hell did Jeff do? What Jeff do?
It was literally here last year.
Somebody tell me what Jeff did to get booed. Because Jeff got booed every time he came in the game. I'm like, what the hell did he do? Like,
but the Joe boo was like a sign of respect too. It was like a sign of respect because we know what Joe can do. So it's like a sign of respect.
Like Jeff ain't that guy.
But Jeff T is not threatening anybody. Like
he's not threatening. Like he wasn't even a threat when he was on the Hawks. Like knock it off. Like I'm just saying, man. I ain't like that, man. Jeff didn't do nothing to nobody, man. But it was just a different time back then. It was a lot more fun. I'm still tripping that you got into it with Jamila out of all people. That is amazing.
And I don't think she remembers. Like I think I brought it up to her like one of the first times I met her at a game, and she didn't remember. But like I think about it every single time I see her.
You might have been one of the like 3 people.
Like, dang.
Yeah, man. It was about Joe Johnson's contract. I called him a bum. I felt so bad about it. I interviewed Joe Johnson a couple of years ago at Big 3, and it was like I felt like the child in me. It felt like fulfilled. Like I was more happy to interview Joe than any other big athlete because that's who I looked up to as a kid. So like, but after the fact, I still felt kind of guilty that I called this man a bum on Twitter. When I was a teenager. So. I always go back to that in my mind.
If LP ever, I mean, he's never gonna watch it, but if he does watch, I want him one day to come back and just come to one of these Hawks things. I really want to see what they would say to him in person. Like, what would you say to this man in person?
Nothing.
Thank you for all you've done for the city and working with John Lewis and you advanced to black people.
I hate that. They'll come and be like, oh, well, he's a great man, but he was just like. Knock it off, bro. Don't give him no side comment. Like,
he was great, man. Did a lot for the community.
I mean, he wasn't the coach for the team. Leave it at that. He wasn't that guy for this team. That's it.
Yeah.
But man, I think
his purpose has been served and his time was expired.
Yeah, somebody called him a punk. Exactly. Like somebody called they get personal. They go there.
They young kids now, bro.
They kill. No, it's not young kids. On Atlanta Hawks Twitter, I'm talking about grown folks, man.
Grown
young
folks.
People, like you got in this deep.
When the Hawks went on that 8-game win streak with the McMillan, like every game, you clown. Oh, you see that? You watching the TV. You got internet connection. You seen a Hawks score tonight.
Even the game, even like the first game they lost in the Olympics.
They killed.
You
talk down on Trey. You hate Trey because he foul bait. You talking about your star player behind his back.
You talking about your star player behind his back.
And then it was like, and another thing that got me, and I'm glad. Hopefully they all be watching this. Like, well, y'all really think LP had that much pull to keep Trey off the Olympics? Don't nobody. LP like the third coach. Like, ain't nobody listening to him. Like, knock it off, man.
It was like him and Greg. They want him on the team.
Like you think they was like they got in the room, they put Trey up there, and Lloyd was like, nah, What does he get from that?
Not him.
Not him. We gonna take. They was like, oh, they picked Keldon Johnson and didn't take Trey. They picked JaVale McGee and did. Do you think they put JaVale McGee and Trae Young up there and was like, oh Lord, and they was like, hey Lloyd, whatever you say, that's what we gonna go with. And Lloyd was like, man, F Trae Young, he out of there.
He's not that guy, Kyle. He's not that guy.
He's not that guy.
He's not that guy. You're not that guy, but
he's there for moral support. He is there for moral support. That is what Lloyd Fields is there for. He's like the video guy. He's there for moral support. Clap it up. You know, Greg Popovich is a nice guy. I'm gonna let you draw up a play here just for the hell of it. But that's it. That's about all I got for you. And he drew up the play in an exhibition game. You didn't even get to draw a play in the real stuff. Knock it off. I had to get that off my chest, man. Cause I see that the last 2 weeks I just been seeing it. I'm like, what has he done to y'all? Like, he's not doing anything. That man got him a new job. He good. He out of there. Oh gosh. But yeah,
I feel like just the fact that as soon as like Trey, like his rookie season, okay, he didn't get rookie of the year, and then the next season, oh, he didn't get an All-NBA. I just feel like everybody thinks like the world is against him. So it's like now every time he doesn't get somewhere where he is like, oh man, they're hating on him. Blah, blah, blah.
It's the maturation. Everybody goes through it. Like Dame went through the same thing. Like nobody respected Dame the first 5 years he was in the league. Nobody, like even Steph. Like even when Steph had his first Steph year, well, nobody really like, all right. Kyrie, same thing. Like it takes, like it's steps. Like even before this year, it was like he didn't win, and that is what it is. He didn't win. Whether it's LP fault, whether it's, I always say it's the roster. You had a trash roster. You wasn't gonna win with that roster regardless of who you had. So then you come this year and you win. So now you come back next year and you win. Then it's like you can't be denied. There's nothing you can say. The same thing with Book. Like you can't be denied once you start winning consistently. So it's like he has to win consistently. That's really all it is. You don't get brownie points just like LeBron didn't get brownie points his first year in the league. Like no, like these people don't do that. So it's like I don't know what they expect. Like the only person that's really got it from day one may be Luka, and that may be the problem. That may be the problem. And Luka gets so much because he's the only player that I can think of that from day one when he stepped into the league, he's gotten that praise and that adulation. And I think that may be what we look at. And I'm like, nah, Trey's gonna be in his own lane. He was brought into a bad situation in a rebuild where Luka was not in a rebuild. And it's like you have to take those steps. Next year, if he has the same year he has and the Hawks are top 4, top 3, he'll get all NBA consideration. He'll probably be an all-star for what he did this past year in the playoffs. He'll probably be an all-star because that's all it's about. You become that guy. Now they're gonna have to put him in national games. He's already an extremely popular player. Like I don't think
he's
really
going that 210 instead of that 171.
Oh yeah. He's trying to get that money now. He's trying to get that money. So as I said, I mean, I think he'll be an all-NBA guy. I don't think. I mean, like I said, but it's going to take the Hawks winning. And like this past year, they didn't win enough. Again, if you want to fault whoever you want to fault, Trey wasn't the best earlier in the year. Let's not try to act like he was just out here balling. And when no, Trey had his bad games early in the year. And then towards the end of the year, he really came into his own. And then in the playoffs, he was just a different animal, which I always figured the playoffs would be his style of ball anyway. So it's coming. Just Hawks fans are not patient. And Trey is that he kind of stirs the pot. He stirs the pot. Trey stirs like he had he had the Trey Young ones in like an Olympic.
What in the USA colors?
I'm like, knock it off, Trey. Yeah. Like, knock it off, man. Yeah. You know the process. You know you have to be in that USA pool prior. Like they're not gonna just call you off. You in Cancun posting shoes. They're not about to call you in Cancun like, oh, hey, bro, let me get you to come to Tokyo, right. And you gonna start too. Because what would have happened is he would have took his ass to Tokyo and been sitting on the bench with JaVale McGee over there. We would have been mad. It'd been him and JaVale McGee. We would have been mad. We'd have been like, oh no, knock it off, man. I gotta knock it off. Should he been there? Sure, but in the scheme of it, he'll be there 2024. He'll be 25. Like he'll be in his prime. He still got 2 more Olympics left. Like, stop it. Yeah. Like Melo didn't go. LeBron was sitting on the benches in his first Olympics. Like those guys, like the best players outside of that first dream team because they were already great. Since they've been doing this whole program with the Olympics, the better players have been good young players have been sitting on the bench or just didn't get the call. So
Shoot, they was getting benched in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
in these games, everybody was
Yeah.
like, "What? Dang."
yeah, it's
Well,
like
I mean, he don't play defense.
Yeah, let's not act like Trey is Drew Holiday. Like
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Like, who are you gonna put? Who you gonna substitute for Trey? You gonna put Trey over Lillard? You gonna put? Is he a better playmaker? Sure, but in that style of basketball, sometimes that better playmaker stuff don't work sometimes because they muck it up on the inside. The stuff that Trey does well, they kind of muck it up on the inside. And it's kind of hard to do some of that stuff. Do I think he'll still be fine? Yes, but the last thing I want is Trey to go over there straight from Cancun and, with a tan and be chilling on the bench. And now we mad about that. Now he got an attitude about that. Yeah,
I got one more question for you.
Okay.
I think earlier today they confirmed how they were changing the foul calling for like non-basketball moves. Do you think that'll affect Trey at any as much as people think it will?
It ain't gonna affect nobody. These guys are so good. These guys are like they just know how to use that stuff. And if you're gonna give them that to use, they're gonna use it. But Trey averaged 30 in college without doing none of that. Like I think he's better when he doesn't do that. When he doesn't do all the looking for fouls and stuff. I think he's a better player when he doesn't do it. So it's like, no, James is gonna still average 30 if he wants to. I mean, maybe not on that team. We can still, like everybody. Like I hate when they try to generalize it. Like these guys do work. These guys are different.
James and Trey.
Yeah, I'm like these guys are different. Like
and Luka.
Luka does it. I mean, everybody does it. It's just everybody does it. It's just that a lot of players are actually starting to realize, like what Trey does actually, when he gets in front of you and he stops, that's really a basketball move. Like you don't know where he's shifting to.
I was watching an interview he did with MPJ this summer, and he was talking. He said he knows game plan, and people don't like to see a little guy succeed on offense. So he's so he knows everybody's game plan is let's rough him up a little bit, let's hit him, check him and everything like that. So he says he knows people are gonna play him tight coming off of the screen. So when he feels them playing them tight coming off the screen, he's gonna stop.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Because you're playing. And so then that's what I would tell people. I'm like, you have to adjust as a player. You know what he's gonna do. So now instead of you trying to be super aggressive like Reggie Bullock, like Ben Simmons, that's why I said I don't know why they put Ben Simmons on him. I think somebody asked like, why would you put Ben Simmons on? He's gonna try to be physical. And it's not gonna work because Trey is too shifty. It's like you're not going to be able to do that to shifty smart players. And that's why I said when they used to talk about the hand check rule, that's not gonna work with these guys. They just too good. They're too talented. This is not 1990 when half the people like John Stockton was the best ball handler, or maybe like it wasn't. These guys get
John Stockton.
John, I like John, but I mean, come on, man. Like these guys get loose. Like these guys, a lot of these guys can dribble and can put moves together. So it's like you have to account for that. Like it's really the pick and roll, has made it where it's like it's almost impossible to guard Trey because he can do so much stuff off the pick and roll. So yeah, no, I don't think. He's still gonna do what he was doing. He'll probably average. I'm gonna say average 27 to 10 this year. That's just me. Give him 27 to 10.
That's fair. Is that all you have, Malik?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, another great episode of Birds and Buckets. B, we appreciate your basketball knowledge so much. Don't think that.
Yes, sir. Always.
It's always a unique perspective when you come on. So I appreciate it.
Thank you,
everybody go around, say your socials, and let's get out of here.
Oh, I guess I'll start. I'd be McCoy 20. Don't no smoke, as I always say. I don't want no smoke. Like I am come with peace. I got a Trae Young jersey back there. I love Trey. I don't want no smoke. I love John Collins. For Miss D, just in case. I don't want no smoke. But be McCoy 20. Gotta cover my bases, man. Y'all took some goons last time, man. Some goons. Y'all took some goons my way.
You went private after that episode, ain't it?
I went private, man. I had the goons on me.
Wait, did you go private for real? Was that?
I had to go private for a while.
But social, because it's a social servient, whatever his name is, LLC. Dude with the glasses that his profile picture like this.
Oh
dude right
yeah,
there.
man, yeah. That
Yo,
dude,
he don't play about nothing, bro. He don't play about nothing.
I see
bro.
him all the time. Like, if I can duck and dodge him, I'm straight. So let me just
Good.
like, I'm straight. Cause that one day when I said that about Luke, I had like 30 messages. I'm like, yo, wait a minute, hold on.
And the episode was like an hour long. It was like an hour and a half long episode.
Nobody cared about it.
They looked at the 15-second Twitter clip and the title of the video, bro, and just like, we see what you're trying to do. It's a clickbait.
Yeah. Yeah.
They went.
I said, did you watch the video, bro?
Nah, I don't need to. Y'all clowns. All right, man. My bad, bro. Oh man, but yeah, no smoke. Be McCoy
and then retweeting our stories when they come out on another account. It's like it's the same people that you was just calling clowns, bro. I don't know if you realize we the same people, bro.
Oh man.
Man, y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at _Malik ATL.
ShariFe.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Asia Wilson. What's the real Olympic MVP? Until next time. Oh, subscribe to Atlanta Sports Unlimited. This is the road to 2K.
Subscribe.
And if they come out clean.